Welcome to Member Spotlight, presented by Community Broadband Action Network. I'm Curtis Dean, your host, and today we're talking with one of our newer associate members of CBAN. This is Ange Krapo, and he is with Eco Fiber. Ange, we are really excited to have you guys as members. So glad you connected with us, and thanks for becoming a CBAN member. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Eco Fiber. Tell me a little bit about your the company itself and your position within it.
Ecofiber is stand for Ange Krapo Operation and Fiber. I am the owner and the CEO. I started this business last year, around October 2023, and that came from my experience working in the utility construction space, and the opportunity that I saw there, um, to venture in assist telecommunication OSP, and then also opportunities in terms of broadband expansion to connect
Hmm.
communities and provide reliable internet. I saw an opportunity there that I could capitalize on, and I put together a team, resources, and launched.
Great. Well, your timing is really good in the industry. We had an earlier conversation when we talked about how the industry needs good people, the industry needs workers, the industry needs equipment, and people with a lot of knowledge. So, you mentioned, you cut your experience in the industry. Were you working for someone else, or were you? How did you actually get your foot in the door there?
Yeah, I actually work for the gas industry. My
Okay.
background in utility construction is from gas operations. So I currently work with a major gas company here in Michigan. I support them on the business analysis side, uh,
Okay.
and supporting the gas constructions. That involves a lot of underground assets. So that is where I was exposed to underground construction here in Michigan. Furthermore, I also have a background in mechanical engineering from Ivory Coast, where I'm originally from. So
Okay.
again, with that curious mindset that was developed, from studying engineering, and then also my career in corporate America as a financial analyst. I thought that I had all the necessary tools to dive deeper into this matter and put together something.
Well, that's fantastic, and a great success story for someone who moved here from another nation. We welcome you to our little burb here.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. Talk a little bit about some of the projects that Eco Fiber has been involved with. Some of the projects you've been involved with, both in Michigan and wherever else that you've done work.
Yes, so far in close to 7 months of operation, we've only been working in Michigan. Um, again, that aligned with the timing on when I started the company and opportunity that I saw in the space and work in project that I saw that we could take on right away. So right after we launched the business, put together our asset and resources, we're able to start timing wise, like almost close to a month after
Mhm.
we were up and running on a project in the Midwest side of Michigan, in the
Mhm.
Cadillac space, where we work with the OSP company and in the fiber to the home project. So that project continued till the end of the year. So we were blessed to even be able to work through winter, knowing the conditions here and the climate in the Midwest.
Yeah.
We were able to, stay in operation, as stressful as it could be as a startup. Our few partners that came along help us streamline our operation, learn a lot in this space, and then get ready for this construction season.
You had a very similar experience to some other parts of the Midwest with a pretty mild winter that allowed construction, if not throughout the winter, at least for a significant part of it. And that sure helped a lot of projects make up for lost ground they may have needed to make up for. So it sounds like Michigan, Southern Michigan especially, was in more temperate climate this past winter.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, talk about you're brand new pretty much. You're not new to the industry, you're not new to business, obviously, but the company itself is new. And I'm always excited and interested to talk to entrepreneurs like yourself who are building a business from the ground up, because I've been there and I know lots of people who have been there. So talk a little bit about the challenges that you have when taking a business from concept to reality and now growth.
It is challenging. It's one of the most, I would say, one of the most difficult thing I've ever done. I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur since I moved to the US. I mean, that's the reason why I moved initially,
Hmm.
because I had that entrepreneurial mindset, and I thought that I could find opportunity and resources, and with hard work, all those attributes could pay off. And I've always been optimistic, even in facing with challenges, and launching a construction business, especially in a cold climate, and again at a time when the economy is not the great,
Right.
is challenging. Compound to that, not having a operational expertise, because I've never worked on the ground as
Hmm.
a construction operator, even though I've been involved in the back end.
Sure.
All these challenges are scary, and then when you add to that, finding resources. Construction is very capital intensive, so
Yeah.
for putting together a crew, all the administrative part, and most importantly, getting financing for equipment are all challenges that we early faced in launching. However, again, timing is very important, and I made sure that as I put together my business plan and launch date and all this achievable target, my cash flow was somewhat able to sustain all these investments. So,
Great.
and then from there, once you launch, you are 100% in. You gotta make it, or gotta
Yeah.
make it or break it. So,
It's all or
from there,
nothing at that point.
it's a day to day challenge, but it's rewarding. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity for me to step out of my comfort zone, and the rewards in the long run are worth the risk.
I always compare to starting a business. It's like being on a thrill ride at a carnival. It's really exciting and fun, but it's also a little bit scary at times. So you get on that ride. It's like getting to the top of a roller coaster. You know what's coming, right? And then it happens, and then it's over in a flash. And
Yeah, that is
in
correct.
your case, that you're into the growth and you've had built your business, and now it's expansion. It's looking for new growth opportunities, that sort of thing. Um, as you were building, you mentioned building your team. That seems to be a real big challenge in the broadband industry. Well, really in a lot of industries right now, and that is finding quality human resources. What was the process you went about to identify the people that you could have on your team to help you, so you came out of the gate with a strong group of people?
It's pretty much be curious, be open, talking to people that have been in industry, that are experienced. I mean, like I say, I didn't have any operational expertise, in terms
Hmm.
of running equipment myself. But again, with my strong financial acumen and administrative aspect knowledge, I wanted to surround myself, with technical expertise to be able to, deliver the work, quality and safe. So I talked to a lot of people that were in the industry. I created job ad, looking for that talent that can come to me with some vesting interest, whether through partnerships, through some type of compensation based, reward. And then from there, it's just finding the right match, which worked in my case.
Yeah.
and and help me put together that initial crew that I could trust to get the job done once everything else from my standpoint was lined up. So yeah, and it's a very challenging task to find quality, you know, talent and
Yeah.
individuals in there. But again, I believe, it's basic human relationship. I mean, to me, it has
Yeah.
to be a win-win situation. You just have in mind to treat people fairly and give them opportunity to benefit from any venture that they are involved with. So that has been my recipe for success. And again, once I have this initial team that is experienced, my goal is to bring on newer generation that will be curious and then train them to become the next leaders of a team.
I think that's an amazing approach to take. I've always been one of the persons that advocate for you hire the person, not necessarily the resume, not necessarily the experience. If you hire the right people, um, they can do almost anything. And if they have the curiosity, like you've talked about here, curiosity to want to do it better, you can build a really great relationship with people that are going to want to continue to work with you for a long time. So good job on that part. You mentioned the capital expense. Holy moly! The things like a boring machine, a plow,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. Those they're not being given away, are they? Is that a did you start with, say, some used stuff, and then as you grow you'll move to more newer stuff, or how did you approach that, getting the gear, so to speak?
Oh yeah, I mean, the ball machine is, that's the most important part
Yeah.
for an underground company. And I mean, you probably know in this space, in terms of machine maker, we don't have a lot. You got a couple of big names that pretty much control the industry. So in terms of room for negotiation or price range, you don't have much to compare or to adjust your budget to.
Right.
And again, depending on your plan, the type of work you want to take on, again, that also limits the availability of equipment in those spaces. So I did start with used equipment. Again, being early, being a startup, and all the risk involved, I did
Mhm.
not think it was worth getting a brand new machine until I have workload warranting that kind of investment. So, that's the part where the business analysis and financial planning plays a role. Obviously you don't want to get it too old of a machine, that will break down every time, which will generate additional cost. But you also don't want to, get a newer machine that will create higher overhead, at
Sure.
this early stage of your business where you might not have, that kind of volume to support that kind of expenditure.
There's kind of a sweet spot there. I think I've heard plenty of stories over the years about a company, somebody has a great idea, and they have a role to fill, a niche in a market. But one of the bigger mistakes they make at the beginning is not thinking through how that company is going to go from 0 to 60. And they think that the only way to do this and do this right is to go out and buy all brand new trucks, all brand new this, all brand new that. And they find themselves immediately in a hole, because that stuff's all got to be paid for. It's going to depreciate on you. And until you've grown to the point where that you can afford to do that, you might have been better off taking that slower is better approach like you're taking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, data analyst, business analyst, I think that's a really good background for somebody starting a business. I think we need more of that in this world of entrepreneurialism here in America. So,
Yeah,
um,
definitely. It's helpful. It's helpful to be able to, to have your metrics in line, to have your metrics in mind, as you take on
absolutely.
jobs, and, you define, your different, baseline, and what to compare against, and what to price your operations against.
Yeah.
Those are, some recipe that I'm hoping will make us successful.
So I want to talk a little bit about the telecom industry in general for a second, and maybe get your perspectives on it. We've been in a period of growth of building networks for the past just few years. I mean, we've always been building networks, but especially fiber networks with all the funding streams that have come. But here comes the big gold rush, right? Here comes BEAD, and in the next 2 to 5 years, we're going to see an unprecedented amount of public and private investment in new fiber networks. Talk a little bit about what you see some of the opportunities and challenges there from your seat, in taking advantage of and being part of that growth market.
Opportunity in the fiber space, that's what drove me to, invest in this type of businesses. Obviously, we are hoping that every house, every business could be connected to fiber to get reliable, stronger, and faster internet. And I mean, even when you look at the landscape at the Michigan level, we still have, thousands of houses that needs to be connected. So that's where we see opportunity in the next 3 or 5 years to work with a bigger company,
Mhm.
and the OSPs to help them, to assist them in connecting those home to the grid. And again, it's an evolving space. Technology will always evolve. I think fiber is just the beginning
Mm.
of a long of a much needed upgrade in the infrastructure of that we need to be able to be competitive at a global level. So that's where I see that, it's not just connecting homes to the internet, but it's also to look into future assets that could
Mhm.
help us be competitive at the global level. And I'm happy that states and, and municipalities are starting to put together plans and funding those ideas, and having people like us take on those those ideas and actually make them become reality.
Yeah.
That's where I think subcontractor like us are very efficient in making those projects, these ideation, become reality on the ground.
And that we putting in these networks like we're doing now and will continue to do, the innovation that is coming from that in new applications, because once the road is open, so to speak, people are going to come up with more and more ways to use it. So when we say today that folks are getting gigabit services or 10 gigabit services even, and we think, wow, there's no way we'll ever use all that. Yeah, we'll figure out a way to use all that and more. So that innovation is going to continue. That fiber probably can uh, uh, handle the traffic, but we're going to have to keep innovating for the devices on either end to make them more efficient and faster and more powerful, so we can continue moving more and more data through those pipes.
Yeah, yeah, and again, for the greater good, this is still I like what we're doing. I mean, everywhere we've worked to connect homes and businesses, we've received great feedback from our customer, from our end user on what it means to them. It's like pretty much bring the red road to a town,
Yep.
so to speak. And yes, we've received great feedback, and we hope that it continues and makes the lives of those end user better.
Fantastic. Well, we would encourage any of the folks listening to this, if you are looking for someone to do some fiber construction for you, or you're perhaps another firm, a construction firm that's looking for a good, reliable subcontractor, get a hold of Ange here, because I really like your approach. I really like your enthusiasm, your curiosity that got you into this, and I think people would be well served to work with you. So, And we really want to thank you for becoming a CBAN member. It's small companies like yours that are really the backbone of our organization. So thank you very much for doing that. And so
Thank
glad
you.
we connected.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. And yes, I'm looking forward to, contribute to, the growth of CBAN and ultimately, make our state better in the
Absolutely.
country.
Great. Well, our guest today on Member Spotlight has been Ange Krapo, and he is with Eco Fiber. Check him out, ecofiber.com. Ange, we will hopefully run into you again soon. And thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you.
Great. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here on this episode of Member Spotlight.